So
The
you say they're going to claim that you don't have standing. Why would they be able to claim that? Or is it
well,
just generically they just always?
well, no. So in particular, courts are very exact with claims. You have to make specific claims, and one of the things that they'll want to know is that I am personally harmed by the claim. So I can't just sue that, hey, this is wrong, and that some people somewhere will be harmed. I'm suing as a homeless person who will be targeted as a direct result of the executive order. I'm suing as a person living within the continuum of care, designated for housing, who will lose access to those services as a result of the executive order and policies that were created to be in compliance with the executive order. And that harm is imminent. So that is what my claim is. And the courts will decide if that is true, if that is enough. And I'm sure the government will argue that it is not. And we'll see how it goes.
So we're looking at a kind of a true David and Goliath kind of situation. What makes you think it's possible? Or which, what do you think the likelihood of progress is?
I think about that a lot. What makes you think that you could do something like that? Who do
Okay.
you think you are? Right? Well, I do believe in God. I believe in America. I believe in the Constitution. And I've had a lot of experiences in my life that have brought me to this point. And I actually believe in this phrase that says God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. So when we think about why are the CEOs of the local nonprofits are terrified to get involved because they have jobs, because they do have a home, because they do have families and situations that they're afraid to lose. The same thing with the advocacy attorneys. It is the people who have so much to lose that are afraid to take this step. And it's precisely because if this policy is implemented, I will literally be on the street and may die of exposure, hunger, or maybe forced into a concentration camp or something like that. Because I have nothing to lose, I'm the one who has the most to gain by by filing the claim. And I think that's it is a David and Goliath situation, and I hope that it my at the same time, I do wanna say that just because our court system is what they call an adversarial court system, but I don't think of the president as my adversary. I don't think of HUD as my adversary. I think of this more as a negotiation. I am bringing something to their attention. I'm asking these people who I respect, these people at the Department of Justice, and I'm sure that when you sue the president, there are some agencies that are going to take a look at you, that are going to kind of see who you are and what you're about. And these are all smart people. These are educated people. These are like really the best of the best that America has to offer. And for me, it's a win-win. Even if my claim is not heard, um, it is heard simply by having a federal judge read what I'm saying. I don't have to be the person who brings this idea to its fruition. I am imprinting this claim into the minds of everyone who looks at it and looks at me, and it can't be unheard. You can't unring the bell. So every time um, some special agent, a U.S. attorney, a federal judge, or any person like that looks at the claim, reads the claim. They are impressed by it, and I mean impressed in that word is it touches them. And so it touches their mind. You can't unread what you read. And I have faith that they uh, are smart people. They have families. They're trying to do their job. These are not evil people. And I believe that the president himself is a piece of American history. This is somebody who he's certainly a polarizing figure, and there are a lot of people who feel different ways about him. But I respect him as the president of the United States, and I respect the incredible amounts of struggle that he's had in his life, and I believe that he loves his country because he's legit Americana, like baseball and apple pie. And I
Hmm.
think that when that he has the capacity to see a big vision for America. Um, and I think that in the end, this is much more like evangelism. This is much more of a communications process than this is a fight or a war or, any of those kind of me versus you frameworks, mental frameworks. I don't really think of it like that. I'm honored to be able to bring this claim. I'm honored to have my thoughts and my name come across the desks of my betters. These people are legitimately better than me. Okay. They made better decisions with their life. They're in high positions of authority, and I respect them, and I'm just asking them to hear me out. So I really feel great about it. And right now, I think the David and Goliath narrative is fun to think about, and it might sound great for the media, but for me, um, I think of it kind of differently, just more of uh a breeze, a whisper, a sign, or something. It's just like, "Hey, I'm just bringing this to your attention. Can we talk about it?"
Yeah. So you said the Constitution, God, and America. Are those things all that you think are on your side in this endeavor?
They're all I have. I'm really living at the bottom of society. Like, I am actually sitting on my shelter bed. Um, and I'm here, for various reasons. There are systemic reasons why there are systemic reasons that aren't necessarily bad why there are millions of people becoming homeless in this country. There is a stigma, there is a belief that everyone who has lost their job, who has gotten evicted, or who have found themselves facing housing instability has done so through some character flaw. And I would like to offer an alternative perspective is that we and that is true and there is a lot of that going on, but we also live in an age. I read a meme earlier today that says we live in a country where I'll be thinking that I'm bad with money whole time I just bought food.
Hmm.
And so we're just living in a society where we it's widely reported that incomes are stagnant. Since the 70s, the price of a house has gone from, our my parents, my boomers and the greatest generation bought houses for 50,000, 80,000, 112,000. Um and they came into the careers and they were able to grow, whereas a person coming out of college today, a male who exits college today, makes no more money than an individual with a high school diploma, and that income is $20 an hour or less. And so we just happen to live in a system where the majority of people simply cannot afford to own property to really get a piece of the American dream. And so this is happening to more than just the careless, the afflicted, the down,
I
you
was
know, the
it does
irresponsible.
it does seem like homelessness is coming for more and more a wider percentage of people, not just more people. I was gonna ask you, why should the average person care and how does it affect them? Like,
Yes. Well, if you talk to the average boomer, one of their kids is dealing with either and in fact boomers themselves are one of the largest growing populations facing housing instability. So if you talk to anybody ages 65 or under, there's a significant chance that they or one of their children or family members are facing not just housing stability issues, but also mental health issues or substance abuse issues. So these issues are becoming so widespread. They're really now endemic to American culture. EBT, as we know, we just in the recent government shutdown, we all learned that there are 41 million Americans receiving SNAP. The majority of those people are working